What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Bitcoin because everything looks pretty good fundamentally for Bitcoin, even though we are in a pretty devastating market overall. But everything moves forward, adoption keeps going forward, and Bitcoin just goes block by block every 10 minutes, nothing stopping it. But the chart, on the other hand, is a little bit of a different story. So let's take a look at that chart right here and see exactly how it looks. And here it is. So we had this channel drawn before a while ago. About right here is where I drew it on this line. So a few days or a week ago or something like that, a couple weeks. And we see we were trading inside of here, pretty much very much going to the top, coming back down, back to almost the top, hovering top. And then we had this devastating start of this market here. And we fell all the way down, tried bouncing off of this and getting up higher all the way to $43,000, and then just a pretty big move down from there. And the worst part about this, so the bad part about the chart, obviously we broke down and are now underneath and outside of it, so that's bad thing number one. But overall, a bad thing for this is we look at the higher highs that were made right here and the higher lows that were being made. So whether or not you look at this, say the lows here, then another low, which is higher, and if you take this as a low, which is a higher low than all these, or if you just skip this section and say this is the low, which is higher than all these, doesn't really matter. Ultimately, where we got to was much lower than either of these 2 points. So we broke the higher low streak. Not a great thing to do. So kind of this moving up pattern here wasn't in the best situation. But if you take it away from that and just go from these 2 points, so if we were to let's just delete this channel, and if we were to make another one here based off of these 2 points right here, and then we'll put the top right about here. So two interactions here. We're looking pretty good. If we did that, then you can see it actually interacted perfectly with this bottom here and jumping off of it. So we might be in a all right spot. All might not be too bad right now if we take these 2 spots here or lines here and count them as the 2 lines and push it out and do a parallel. We have this new channel, which actually looks like it interacted pretty well too. So the interaction points on the top right here, as well as a little breakout, a little bit of a breakout and stuff. But ultimately, it's actually perfect. So this isn't a lineup for it, but it bounces perfectly off of this. So we might not be in such a bad, devastating situation as a lot of people might think. Put in a lower low, which is never a good thing. But if you really zoom out and kind of put this new channel on here, it actually looks like it interacted perfectly. And even I wasn't expecting it to be a perfect interaction like this with, just redoing the lines with these 2. So you know what they say in technical analysis, if your lines don't make sense, just redraw them and eventually they will. So it'll be funny to see if this is actually something that's holding up. And it looks like it is. I mean, we just flipped green here, but the next points for Bitcoin is 39.6 for where we've kind of had a lot of interaction points, a lot of hovering around and trying to get back into this red channel, 42K almost to 45K, and seeing if we can continue this rally. Maybe Bitcoin can be the asset to pull everyone else out and finally just break this terrible, bad bear market we've been in. And as for some news for Bitcoin, it is looking pretty good. We had Tesla in a new SEC filing. We all know Tesla, they invested their $1.5 billion worth of their treasury into Bitcoin. And they came out in a new SEC filing saying that they believe in Bitcoin's long-term potential as a liquid alternative to cash. That's major stuff, especially for such a giant company as Tesla, and they're in the S&P 500. So not only is it a huge company that can open the doors for other companies to not have to be scared to do this move or make this move, it also opens the doors to S&P 500 companies to not have to be the first S&P 500 one to be able to go into Bitcoins. It just, the first one through is always the toughest, and then people or companies, everything flood in after that. It becomes a lot easier to kind of adopt anything after you're not really first. And if we look at Bitcoin in May, it's gone up in May. It's had a positive month, 7 out of 11 years. Pretty good track record in May. If we look at this, it's actually a pretty good month too. So this last May was decent, nothing crazy, but decent. May before that, that's a really good green candlestick. That's amazing. The May before that, another insane green candlestick. And then this May, we would have a little one, decent, nothing to complain about. And then this May, another great one, and this one kind of flat. So if we see a pattern here, what would the pattern be? Would it be flat, good, but then it's good, flat? So we might be looking at a good May if history repeats itself. So none of this really actually matters, but it's interesting to see May been a really good month for Bitcoin, when typically May is a bad month for investing in general, because the saying goes, sell in May and go away, because that's when people sell their investments and go on vacation. Investors sell, they enjoy some of the money and go on vacation. So we'll see if that affects Bitcoin now that it's more mainstream, or if May will actually prove to be a pretty good month. And as for Bitcoin adoption goes, we saw that the El Salvador last year, was this a year ago? Yeah, 2021. They became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. And just recently, we saw the Central African Republic become the second country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. I think the Central African Republic, they said that they wanted to be ahead in technology this time and be ahead of everybody else and not play catch up like they have been for many years or decades now. So they wanted to be ahead of the curve on this one, and they might just be that ahead of the curve. So when you look at even what this says here, it took 12 years for the first nation to adopt Bitcoin, because obviously El Salvador was the first one. Bitcoin's been around for 12 years. After that 12 years, it only took 9 months for the second. So this kind of goes along with the point where if you're the first one through, you open the door for everybody else to go through with less of a worry, because nobody wants to be first, but nobody wants to be last either. Those are the two most difficult things. So you don't want to be first, but after there is a first, you don't want to be last no matter what. That puts you in the worst spot possible. So we'll see which other countries come out. It's probably going to be still more like African countries, Central America countries, South America countries. Those ones are probably going to be the first ones to come through, but it's going to keep rolling out, keep getting adopted, no matter what the market sentiment is. If the market's good or bad, doesn't matter. Bitcoin can still be adopted. And just to finish this video off with the pandemic era market in one chart, this is just a combination of a lot of stuff in one chart, and it's pretty ridiculous. Clearly, there is one very clear winner, and it's Bitcoin. Nothing else even came close to it. The S&P, I mean, that's an index, but that's what everyone refers to as the market. So did good. You can't complain about the S&P over this last year and a half, 2 years, but SPACs, they started off well, and then they finished very bad. But all this stuff, tech is kind of hovering around S&P, outperformed for a long time, coming kind of back really close to S&P. But Bitcoin, just absolute rally. Nothing else ever stood a chance. It just skyrocketed, all-time highs, crashed to 29K when everyone said it was dead. And even at this point, at 29K, still, I mean, way outperforming the S&P and everything. And everyone's crying, saying it's dead, it's going to nothing. And then an explosion to another all-time high price where it came down to 39K or 35K or something, where we kind of are now. And everyone back to saying Bitcoin's dead. Oh my God, it's over. Everything is done. And that's the best time to probably be buying, during a time like this where everyone doesn't want to be involved in the market and everyone is saying that Bitcoin is dead. And that's right before it rallies. And then everyone who is saying that gets FOMO and buys into Bitcoin. So ultimately, Bitcoin is doing great. It's doing amazing. Adoption continues moving forward. The network continues moving forward. And we can even look at one last thing here. The Bitcoin hash rate, just up and to the right. New all-time high. More miners joining the network. 223 is the new all-time high. Previous one, 214. So we just keep going up and to the right. Network continues to grow. Miners continue coming into the network, making it stronger, making it more secure, and being attracted to the Bitcoin network. So growth continues, adoption continues, fundamentals super strong. The market in a very bad spot right now, but Bitcoin holding up extremely well in consideration to all the other tech stocks and regular stocks, any traditional assets. Bitcoin's holding up very well. So it's kind of insane to see that happening. And maybe this is a turning point for Bitcoin in general, where less people see it as a risky asset. It seems like we could be heading down that road pretty quickly and a lot quicker than a lot of people thought. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.